Please breathe. Breathe again. Breathe deeply, please. Even if you have to yawn, please breathe deeply. And be aware of the air that is moving into your lungs and breathe. And you can breathe it out and push the air out loudly if you wish, or not so loudly, whatever feels comfortable to you. But we truly wish for you to bring in some fresh air and push out the heaviness that you may be feeling, the constriction that you may be feeling. Good day, we are OEeliya. Continue to breathe, please, as you listen. It is our great honor to be in your presence this beautiful day. We are up in the far northwest of your country, in a beautiful land called Oregon today. And it is being replenished with the beautiful winds and the rains that allows the earth and the plants and all living things to relax and refresh themselves and expand as it is given the nourishment that it needs to grow into something even grander. Breathe, please. And relax. Just be present in this moment, if you will. Right here, right now. In your beautiful chair, your beautiful land, in your sweet body, and in this wondrous country you call America. And all of the other countries in which you stand and live and breathe. These are the times, as many are speaking, these are the times of great change. But the change is not like it has been before, because your planet has taken on a completely different vibration. And your planet itself is healing itself, as you all know, in various ways. And the planet itself is attempting and is moving forward into its own expansion. And so there are many ways that you can interpret that. Expansion comes in many forms. The experience of joy is a form of expansion. The experience of laughter is a form of expansion. The experience of relaxation is a form of expansion. The experience of conscious breathing is a form of expansion. For many eons on your planet, there was what could be called a devolution or a backward evolution. It wasn't really that, but that's what it felt, because all things on your planet became gradually compressed and densified, so that the spaces between the molecules and within the atoms became less and less. And the experience of density, the experience of compression, the experience of heaviness, and even the compression of the light, which is the experience of darkness, gradually occurred on your planet and is now moving your planet itself. Because you live upon it, you also have entered into a brand new age that you call the age of Aquarius, the age of enlightenment. You all know this. But we want to speak to you so that you can reference all of this for what we would like to talk about today. And what I want you to know is that all that is spoken, all that is brought forth in our conversations is brought forth because you are willing to be present. Yes, that is true. All things are interactive. All things, all living things, all beings, all people, all life forms are actually and absolutely connected. Those scientists will tell you that. All things are connected. And so everything that anyone does is felt at some level and experienced at some level by all other things. For the human mind, that doesn't quite make sense because the experience of compression and density and separation. We wish to speak about expansion, not decompression or compression. You see, you as beautiful divine beings live within your body. And you are greater, much, much greater than your body. And you are all connected in consciousness and in reality at that level of the divine being that you are. And you are all, we are all, an experience of the divine being that is called by many names. It is called by God and Creator and Source and all of the other multitude of phrases and languages that attempt to express that. And so you see, we exist all together, and it's not something that can be denied. And now that your planet has moved into this completely new, accelerated, and higher vibration, it is time for the humans to begin to enter the newest frontier on your planet. The frontier for hundreds of years has been science. It is no longer the frontier. And oddly enough, many of your scientists know that. And many don't. But that's all right. They'll catch up because there is no other choice. So the frontier today is consciousness. The frontier is connection. The frontier is the love of life, the love of all things. It is the higher vibrations of that which you call Source, Creator, God, and all the other names that you have for it. It is the higher expression of that where conscious beings, which by the way is everything, conscious beings recognize that there is no such thing as separation. Only the little tiny human mind, no matter how grand it thinks it is, and no matter how grand and expansive it attempts to be, it is still very tiny in comparison to the being that you truly are, that is divine, that is spirit, and the consciousness of that being that you truly are. In the very beginning phases of this new age, which is where you stand, this is, you have birth, you have come through the birth canal. You've actually done it quite well. You're like a brand new born baby. You can't even equate yourself to toddlers or anything like that. A brand new baby that is sort of looking around in its brand new environment and attempting to understand it or to recognize it or manipulate it or find itself within it. So this new world that you are in is far grander than anything that has ever been on this planet, actually, in creation. And yes, we do keep saying that, and yes, we understand that some of you don't quite understand what we're talking about, and that's all right. In order to use some of the language of others, in order to have more, in order to experience life in a much more expanded way, then something grander and more expanded must be created. And that's what you have now. There's nothing here that is familiar to you other than the vestiges and the shadows of the past, of the old world, that are very rapidly disappearing on your planet. The way you know they're disappearing on your planet is this thing you call linear time begins to get a little sporadic, and it seems like you can't quite remember what happened yesterday, and for some it's even a few moments ago, and the things of your past that at one point were easily accessible to you are beginning to fade, as if there's a shadow that is disappearing. The old organizations and the old institutions that were created in the old world, that at the time they were created, were the very best that humans could do, could conceive of. And there were always those on the front line of the frontier reaching for more and more and more, and expansion, 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 and developing the beautiful mind into this quite elaborate computer that began to think that it was all powerful. And so all of those organizations and institutions that were created during those times were also disappearing. Truly, they're disappearing, and it's a little tumultuous right now on your planet because there's some uproar that's going on, and those old institutions and ways of thinking are attempting to hold on to something that doesn't exist anymore. You know, it would be sort of as if you had this beautiful balloon that you followed, and you loved that balloon, and it was sort of magical, and you could take it wherever you wanted, and it would sort of provide some sort of enticing and enchanting experience for you, and then, oh my goodness, one day something happened and the stream broke, and you were watching the balloon float away in great distress because it was like your magic balloon, and it gave you great pleasure, and it got further and further and further away. The further away you got more and more distress because you thought that was your only reality. So that is what's happening with these old institutions. They're getting more distressed because they're reaching for something that's disappearing and can no longer be captured. It can no longer be the frontier. For those of you who wish to be on the front line of the frontier, which are you wouldn't be in this conversation. You know there's another frontier. It has nothing to do with that balloon. That's a good thing. So let's start very simply. And entertain your mind for just a moment with pictures and analogies and those kinds of things. And the planet itself is a very good one because you understand it fairly well, even if you're not a scientist. So your planet, the skin of your planet are called plates, and they're constantly moving and evolving and shifting and changing. It seems to be very, very slow from the human perspective. And in the movement of the skin of the planet, many things change with it, and some things get pulled underwater, some things fall into big holes, some things grow even greater. Fresh water appears, and different types of foliage appears, and different animals appear, and some disappear, and on and on and on. It's been going on for a very, 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 very long time. Actually, longer than time. So that's what's happening. The plates are moving, and your planet is healing itself of all of the debris of the greatest devastation to the planet, which was the old world, where human mind became enamored with itself and created itself completely separate from its environment and began to utilize the environment for its own purposes. And that's all right. It's all in the past. It's all done. And your planet itself is now recalibrating itself, and so there's movement. We have been saying for quite a while, there are lands under the waters that are rising. That's a good thing. It's brand new land. It's very fertile, and it will serve many, many, many in the coming eons very, very well. So the waters are getting redistributed. Also on your planet, because of the carnage of the human mind in the old world, there are what are called hotspots or cancers that are caused by the mind attempting to be in control and domination and all the warring and all of that stuff. For the planet to heal itself, regardless of what the human mind does, but we want you to get engaged in this also, it must expand just as the ability of consciousness to expand has now been created. It must expand. There are several ways for that to happen. It can actually expand energetically. It can actually expand in the spaces between the molecules within the atoms. It can actually expand and breathe easier, as if the breathing is easier and the compression on the lungs of the planet is not there anymore. And so it can take these nice deep breaths and bring in more air and bring in more space and begin to relax, because the planet has been as compressed and under the pressure and the stress of the compression as you, the humans, and your bodies and all other living things have been. It is all the same thing. So breathe, please. This is one of the reasons in all methodologies, in all philosophies, in all ways of expanding consciousness and bringing help to the body, breath is the very first thing that you're taught. You're taught to breathe in different ways. You're taught to be conscious of where the breath, where the air goes into your body, because it allows your body to expand and relax. It is not struggling under the pressure of the compression, of the density, of the negativity of your mind. Now, so the planet itself is now doing the same thing. Now it is in an entirely different new environment, in a completely expanded vibrational reality. It is far beyond what it had been in before. It has the space to breathe. Just as the tides come and go, just as the movement of the planets, just as the movement of all of life has the ability to expand and to breathe. And for the in-breath to be greater and create another comfortable zone in which to relax. The expansion creates a more expanded, comfortable zone to exist within. As your planet relaxes and expands and breathes, then the plates or the skin of the planet has more room. And so the plates are not colliding the way they have for so long. They're not attempting to move and having to go under the water or above the water in order to breathe, in order to move. As the planet expands and breathes, and we're noticing your mind are wanting to put physicality of the old world into this formula, please move yourself out of that, because this planet, all living things are capable of expanding and becoming lighter, just as they were able to compress and become denser. Any living thing that becomes denser and more compressed has less ability to move life force through it. I want you to really get that picture, that feeling, those words. Any life form that compresses and gets denser does not have the ability to move life force through it easily. The smaller, the more compressed, the denser it gets, the harder it is for life force to move through it. So using your whole planet as an example, these places on your planet where those are desperately holding on to the old world of warring and control and domination are attempting to push the density even denser and compress it with their control, with their fear. You know, fear is being the basis of all of this. And it causes the cancers on the planet. It causes the eruptions of the volcanoes and the earthquakes. Just to create, it causes it that kind of, so life force cannot move through it very easily. And the planet is moving life force the best that it can based on what the human's consciousness is. So breathe, please. Please breathe, and we want you to create the image within your beautiful self, your beautiful mind, the experience of breathing for the earth, as if you are the earth, as if you are your body. Please breathe, and as you're breathing, imagine, experience, and feel, and have images or thoughts of more space. The air is coming in as you breathe, and it's sort of pushing on the little areas between the cells, between the molecules, in the waters, along the cellular membranes. The breath is pushing, creating just a little more space and a little more space and a little more space, as if you're blowing up a balloon very, 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 very gently. A little more breath, and it gradually the skin of the balloon expands, and a little bit more, and it gradually expands, so that it is at a nice and easy and comfortable experience of expanding and allowing more space and allowing more breath inside the balloon, inside the cells, between the spaces between the molecules. Just as a reminder, your scientist knows there's more space in your body than there is density. It has been the compression, the consciousness of compression, of control, domination, and fear that has created the perception that there is less space. And so you think everything is solid. It's not anywhere near solid. So breathe like you're blowing into a balloon and allowing it to gently, 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 gently take on more and more space, more and more air. And the cells of your body, more and more space, more and more space. The spaces between the molecules in your body. Imagine your DNA, which is a strand of molecules. Many, many different kinds of strands of molecules that are all connected. And as you're breathing, the DNA in your body is loosening up. It's not nearly as compressed, and it's getting easier and easier for the molecules, for the spaces for the molecules to move, easier and easier for life force to move through it, as if there's some sort of flow of life as you breathe, and you're allowing and creating this breath or this image or this thought to expand these spaces between the molecules in the DNA that lightens it up and lightens it up and lightens it up and lightens it up. And so you're becoming conscious of the spaces that are already there, but through your own images and through your own consciousness, you're allowing the space to become more of the reality. You're allowing the space to become more of the reality. And as the DNA, as you recognize the DNA is they're flowing molecules that are all connecting, and they begin to move easier, almost like it's growing or it's expanding, and they can move and float easier, much, much easier. And in the movement and in the flowing of all of that, then the chromosomes themselves begin to do the same thing, and they begin to expand and get lighter and get more movement, gentle movement. Just as the skin of the balloon, as you blow it, it gently expands and creates a little more space in the skin itself, so it gets a little bit thinner and a little bit thinner. And it moves, it can move, and you take a little air off, and you notice how easier it can move. The DNA, the chromosomes, which are the combinations of all the molecules of the DNA, are beginning to have more movement in it, as if you were watching something in water or in an enclosed area that is gaining more movement. It sort of stretches out a little bit, and then it can move easier, and it begins to float. It floats, and it has this gentle swaying movement to it. Breathe. Gentle swaying, flowing movement, and as the chromosomes are having that same experience, then within the very cells, there's the same experience. There's this gentle expansion of movement, swaying, flowing movement. And the waters and the spaces within the cells begin to do the same thing, so that the membranes around the cells also begin the process, just like the balloon, the process of expanding it little by little and getting more and more movement or space or flowing in the membranes of the cells that allows the movement of nutrition, it allows the movement of air, it allows the movement of liquid, of fluid, of the molecules, of the nutrition that you're getting it to come into the cells much, much easier, because there's more space in there, and there's movement, and there's more life force that is able to do that. And as you imagine this and think about this, that every cell in your body is doing this. Every cell in your body is doing this as you're simply experiencing it and breathing. Breathe as if your very life depended on it. And it does. So breathe as if the movement of life force in your body depends on your breathing consciously. Breathe. And now equate that to your planet. So as you're doing this with your body, you are literally bringing the message to the planet, because your body is a cell on the planet, a part of the planet. And as your body is gathering more space, more movement, more fluidity, you will begin to notice, if you really, really pay attention and stay really focused, that more light is starting to show up in there. And since your body is a cell in the planet itself, then the planet is getting the message too. And as it is breathing, it is creating more space. And as it is creating more space, there is more movement of life force. And the elements of the skin, called the plates, can relax. They start to relax because there's more space. The friction, the tension, the pressure starts to let off. It diminishes, and it diminishes, just as when you, with your own body, experience more life force and the expansion within every molecule, all the DNA, all of the cells, all of the tissues, all of the organs, the experience of more space, more life force moves through it, and you notice there's more light that begins to show up among the movement of the expansion of the cells, and your body gets lighter. Literally, your body gets lighter and lighter and lighter. And if you pay really close attention, you will begin to notice that the DNA is taking on more and more light and turning into free-flowing crystalline strands. because there's now enough space, there's enough light, there's enough life, there's enough life force, there's enough breath inside the body, inside the earth, inside your body, inside the earth, inside the earth, inside your body. More and more breath, more and more life. And as the pressure releases from the plates of the planet, the stress, it also releases in your very own body. The places on the planet that we call cancers, where the old world is attempting to keep a hold. There are places in your body that have taken on the density of the old world, that had to do with the fears and the controls and the dominations and all of those negative emotions that got encapsulated in your body. And so that creates, so the stress creates those places create the stress. You create with your mind or your experience of life the pressure, the stress, and your body takes it on and creates it within itself. Have you noticed there's not one thing that's not doing all of this? Everything is doing the same thing. Every living thing is an analogy for all other living things on your planet. Everything that goes on in your body is going on the planet. Everything that's going on the planet is going on in your body in your own unique way. So we wish for you to experience and imagine that your mind, not your brain, your mind, which actually has no physicality. It only fires the neurons in the physicality of the body, that your mind is beginning to take on more space. It is like the balloon. It is taking on more space. It is taking on more life force. Just your mind. So the thoughts of the old world slow down. The thoughts of all of the fears and the angst and the anger and all of those sadness and all of that type of thing. Breathe into it and allow your mind to expand and bring into your mind the experience, the sensation, simply the thought that there is an expanded life force within your mind. So your mind will relax. You see, when we say your mind taking on a vision or a thought of an expanded life force, life form, consciousness, it relieves your mind and it allows your mind to relax and expand. That's critical for your mind to relax and expand and allow life force, which would be like allowing just moments of, oh, I can take a breath in this moment, and that feels really good. It could be your mind having a thought, oh, I am going to choose in this moment really, really like this thing that I'm looking at or that I'm touching, and just to feel, just for a moment, how sweet that feels, or how I love the sound of that, or how I'm imagining what it was like when I put my foot in the stream, or I touched the leaf or the grass, or to just breathe, let your mind breathe and expand just like the balloon. Just breathe and relax your mind as if it is becoming flatlined, which is a good thing for your mind for just a moment. And as you can do that, this thing that we've been calling the compression and the pressure and the stress will also start to release, will also start to expand. Breathe, please. Be the breath for just a moment. Breathe into your body and remember what we've been talking about, that with every breath you're bringing in more life force, everything in your body, everything from atoms to organs to structures, everything in your body with every single breath is expanding just a little bit and bringing in, allowing more life force, as if your whole body can breathe, even the bones, everything can breathe. Expand the space and relax, and expand the space and relax, expand and breathe into the space. Breathe into the spaces. And now that you have more spaces, now that the earth, you see you're teaching the earth as you do this. And all of life will get easier for everyone. As you're breathing and you're noticing more space, then, as much as you can, so with the next breath, allow joy, allow a sense of relaxing, allow a sense of a memory of something that just makes you very, very happy. Allow a sense of happiness. Allow a sense of love. Breathing it into the spaces. And as you do this, you're actually getting everything comfortable with the spaces, because they're now filling up with these beautiful senses and emotions and feelings and thoughts. And that creates an entirely different milieu in your body, in the planet, and for all living things, and even in your mind. So it's like you're how do we explain this? You can create a little space and fill it up with something that's beautiful, and the space will expand a little bit more because it feels so good, and so you fill it up with something else that's more beautiful, and it will actually expand because it really, really likes that feeling of being filled up with something so beautiful and wondrous and sweet. And so you just, it expands on its own. And so you keep filling it up, and it expands even more. And the whole process expands even more. And the more you fill it with the beautiful sweetness, the more it will expand to allow for more of that. Allow it. Allow it. Allow it. Allow it. Allow it into the DNA, into the molecules that create the DNA. Expand the spaces and pour sweetness into it. And watch. And notice and feel. they will actually give a little bit more. So you pour more sweetness into it. And the molecules create more and more space, because truly life loves sweetness. Life loves happiness. Life loves laughter. And it will give to allow more. Life will give to allow more. And so your molecules allow more of the sweetness, more of the life force, more of the light, and begin to turn into beautiful crystalline strands. Only sweetness can create crystalline strands. We want to make that very clear. You can't pour fear in there and create crystalline strands. If you pour fear in there, it will constrict. You remember when you were very little and you put your hand on something that was very hot, or you put it in the fire, how you instantaneously constricted to avoid it. Your body does the same thing. You pour the negative thoughts and feelings into your body, it will constrict. It will push the life force out. It will become denser. It will stop the ability of the body to move easily and freely. And there you are, with a body that is not working very well. So we know that you don't want that. We know that you don't want your life to be like that, because your life will do exactly the same thing. When you pour negative thoughts and feelings and emotions into your life will constrict. You can't say, I'm afraid, I don't want, I can't stand. When you say that, it doesn't allow your life to expand. It causes your life to constrict. That's the old world. So we are doing the best we can to give you experiences and examples for your mind to latch onto of what happens, how you get your body to be happy, how we get your life to expand and experience the happiness of life, how you get and assist the earth in expanding with happiness so that the earth expands and is happy, and all of this old world can disappear like a puff of smoke, like the string cut on the balloon. Just simply disappear. It's totally possible. Because you are the one in a human body with your brilliant mind and your beautiful heart and your desire, because you're on the frontier, you're on the edge of frontier, your desire for this new world that is full of happiness and life and flowing, and there's nothing that is stuck. There's nothing that they can't move. Everything exactly the way your heart desires. We know you are the ones, and you are the ones that have volunteered to be here at this time to practice and to learn and to expand and to breathe and to love life and to be excited about it, so that the planet will do the same thing, so that humanity will do the same thing, and all of you can move into this new world and with great wonder, like a baby. A baby expresses wonder about life. Wonder. You are babies in a world and in a life that has never been before. And you're also very wise and wondrous beings that can train your mind and get your mind in sync with expanding, breathing, and creating space. However you can imagine it, however you can think about it, creating space. If it's blowing bubbles in the water, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Create your own images. Create your own expressions, your own thoughts about expanding the spaces that gently lighten up the tension within every structure of your body and the earth. It lightens up the tension in every cell of your body, the tension in your bones, in your muscles, in all of the tissues. It just simply lightens up the tissue so that everything can move easier. You can breathe easier. Your life gets lighter. Your body gets lighter and lighter and lighter. You, my sweet, wondrous beings, in your own body, can teach the earth to breathe and relax and be at peace. And as the earth does that, all other living things, except many humans still, will join in concert. All of the animals, all of the plants, all of the water, even the air, will join you in concert to create this experience of peace and love on earth the way it has never, ever been. And those beings in human form that want to hang on to the old world will simply disappear like a puff of smoke. Really, don't get caught up in how hard it's going to be unless you want to be a part of it being hard. Just keep that in your mind, keep that in your heart. Breathe. Ask the earth to breathe wherever you are. Ask the earth to breathe. And all of this turmoil that's happening on the planet will begin to dissipate. That which would have been thought to be a very traumatic tragedy will dissipate. As you think about the cancers in what's called the Middle East, or in your country, wherever you are, among humans, place these images of breathing life, expanding, relaxing, the pressure disappearing, the stress letting go, more life force comes in between the humans, in between the land, in between the other creatures on the planet. The space begins to expand between the molecules, between the breaths, and you fill it up. You fill it up with your peace and your love and your life and your joy, however you can do it. And all the rest of those, like putting sweet, sweet water on a fire. If the fire goes out, the fire goes out. In these places on your planet, the confusion, the thoughts, the old world ways, the fire goes out. And all that happens is this smoke and then the fire, and all of the embers disappear, and the planet can heal easier and faster. We're so grateful that you are willing to even listen. We are so grateful and so much love for you for being willing to take even a tiny step in this direction. or a great, big, huge leap in this direction. For it is your world that you are creating. And you are the ones out there on the front of this frontier of expanding consciousness and the love of life like it has never been on this planet, where all are free. The freedom of movement exists among all peoples, among all things, with love and peace and understanding and compassion and joy. With our most heartfelt appreciation. Thank you so much. We wish for you to be a part of our conversation again at another time. You are so loved, sweet, beautiful ones. Until we meet again, namaste.